This is Elton Kane for Finextra at Cybos, and I'm here at Deutsche Bank speaking to Angus Fletcher about the global regulatory environment. Angus, where are we at in the current regulatory life cycle?
So, thank you for that introduction. Where we're at is we're effectively in the midst of the implementation of the post-financial crisis global regulatory agenda. If I make an analogy, it's a little bit like when building a house. We've seen the foundations go in, we've seen the external walls go up. We're still to get the roof on and the internal walls and fixtures and fittings. We've seen certainly a degree of progress here. We've Dodd-Frank, EMIR, Volcker have all gone into implementation and into force over the course of the last 12 to 18 months. We have a number of other key regulatory topics and dossiers going through over the course of the next 12 to 24 months, including MiFID, CSD regulation in Europe. And then we have another set of regs that are at the early stages, so such as financial benchmarks, European bank structural reform as well, to name but two, that will be unfolding as we go over the course of the 3 year, 4 year time horizon.
You mentioned some of the new regulations in the early works there. What trends are we seeing for the next wave of regulation?
Well, it's very interesting. So this has been about finishing off and completing the implementation. We're now starting to see a slight change of focus. So if you look, really there are 2 to 3 key ones that we're tracking or starting to see. One is a focus on growth, which I think is a very positive step forward. So we're seeing in Europe the Capital Markets Union that's been announced by the European Commission, and actually ASEAN has also looked to offer something similar as well around an investment plan into the ASEAN region. We have also China that has been looking to liberalize RMB and at the same time setting up such constructs as Stock Connect constructs to allow greater investment. All of these things are hugely important and hugely exciting from a transaction banking point of view. They offer lots of opportunities in the post-trade space. I think secondly, there is a new focus on technology and a real recognition now by regulators that technology is a vitally important aspect of the post-trade life cycle, both in terms of how customers access their banks, but also in terms of how banks are looking to make processes more efficient. And we'll have seen and heard a lot at this conference around disruptive technology and how that's going to be brought to bear. I think what's critical here is, we're seeing starts of dossiers now around cybersecurity, data protection, and also national approaches to onshoring technology versus offshoring technology, and we need to see how that's going to play out. But what's going to be vital is ensuring that technology can thrive as we go forward, but at the same time making sure that there are not new risks being brought to bear, and that there is a degree of a level playing field between the new players and existing players in this space.
With a lot of projects within banks already underway to deal with a current wave of regulation, but more regulation on the horizon, how can banks best position themselves to cope with these changes?
It's a very good question, and it's a very difficult one to answer. I think what is hugely important is that banks have an understanding of what is coming down the pipe, and that they continue to keep track of that and understand the trends of what that regulation is looking to drive, so they can get ahead of it. I think secondly, it's hugely important that they put in place a structure within their organizations to be able to manage through the pipeline, through implementation, and then through post-implementation, because it's also important that you don't become non-compliant in the future as you bring new clients or new products on board. And then thirdly, it's vitally important to be out with the industry, and that includes regulators, to really be talking through the challenges of scope, timing, and definitions, and including extraterritorial aspects that are vital to ensure a cross-border business can continue to operate.
That's great. Thanks for your time, Angus.
No problem at all. Thank you.